Funny story. I actually filmed the whole intro part of this. I feel like I said part really weird. I filmed this whole intro part already. And then I realized I never turned the receiver on to my microphone. So I'm going to be redoing it. So welcome again to the Lavender Book Company. For anyone who's new here, my name is Kat. I am a children's book author and illustrator, but I'm very inspired by the classics. So all the books that I create are just inspired by all the classics that we know and love, but I'm giving them a little bit of a facelift. My first book, The Adventure of Theodore James, is available for purchase right now. So if you want to grab a copy, you can go down into the description box below and there's like a link there. It's super easy. So I am currently working on my second book. I just finished all the illustrations. So I'm going through and just doing some final checks, and then I'm like cutting them out and just making sure everything is the way I want it to be. And then I'm going to go have them scanned in and formatted. So I figured while I was kind of cutting these up and kind of double checking everything, I thought it'd be fun to kind of share some of more of the behind the scenes on where this book comes from, where the character comes from, you know, all the personal things behind it, my experience with doing the illustrations, and all that kind of fun jazz. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. But if you're new here and you would like to stick around and you want to talk about children's books and illustrations and the behind the scenes of me growing my small publishing company, definitely hit subscribe. I'd love to have you around. And let's go ahead and jump into it for the second time. So for anyone who's new here, this book is very different in a sense from my first book. So my first book was all color pencil, and a lot of people will specifically reference Beatrix Potter, which be still my heart. That makes me feel so good. She is my muse and I love her. There was definitely a lot of inspiration from like Peter Rabbit in that book. This time around, I have kept the colored pencil when it comes to the main characters, but then when it comes to the world around her and around the characters, it's all watercolor. I wanted to do that for a very specific reason, and I feel like it really helps tell the storyline, and it makes a lot of sense down the line when you read the whole story together. And plus, it's just so fun to work with different mediums. As an illustrator, I always want to be challenging myself in different ways. I don't want to just make the same book like over and over again. So I really want to try different art styles. I'm very inspired by a lot of different illustrators. So I do want to pull inspiration from really amazing illustrators and authors as kind of an homage to them. So kind of a fun thing about this. So with this book, I've had to use like really heavy watercolor paper. But with that, obviously you can tell I didn't use up the entire page. And so I'm actually saving, I have more scraps in a bin over to my right, but I'm actually saving all the scraps because I'm really wanting to do a collage piece in one of my books. I don't know if it'd be the entire book. I don't know if it'd be a couple spreads, but I know that I'm wanting to do something collagey down the line. I love Sophie Blackall and Mary Blair. I just love their styles. I'll pop up some of their pictures, like of their illustration styles here. I just absolutely love their stuff. I mean, their stuff technically is very 2D, but I just love the style of it. I think it's so cool. So I definitely want to use theirs as inspiration in a future book. So that's why I'm actually saving all the scraps. So I'm not throwing away. Plus this paper was like really expensive. So I'm definitely using up all that I can. So let's get into kind of what inspired this book initially. So if you've been following me through this second book, I really have not shared the storyline at all. I really haven't shared about the storyline. No one knows the character's name except for those who are subscribed to me on my email list. Y'all did find out a little bit ago, so you guys are the only ones who know. Other than that, no one knows it yet because all I've shared are the illustrations. That's literally all I have shared. So people are just kind of having to piece together what's going on. But this story actually comes from a very special place from when I was a kid. So I don't really know how to like go into this. But so I'm almost 6 foot. And with that, when I was a kid, I want to say like in late middle school, I was already at like a size 11 shoe. Most of the time, like when it came to basketball shoes or soccer cleats or things like that, I had to buy men's. And so as a little kid, like as a girl who's, you know, in your little teenage years, you just feel so out of place. You feel so weird. You feel like you're just just kind of just this crazy giant. You feel like just you don't belong. It's so weird. I just felt like just huge in every sense of the word. I was very tall. I had these big hands and big feet. I have these big lips on my face. So I was very insecure about all these things. And it wasn't until I got a little bit older that I realized everyone's made the way they're made for a reason, and there's beauty in that. And so that's what the book is about. It's about a little rabbit who her ears are bigger than normal. But it's just kind of her realization and her journey that everyone is different. Everyone is born a little bit different, but there's beauty in that. And the world would be so boring if we were all the exact same person, because how boring would that be? So that's ultimately where the book kind of comes from within me. And it's just a very special story. And I think a lot of people can relate to it, whether you're a kid or an adult. I feel like there's a lot of truth to it. And it was actually very sweet. I actually read the manuscript to a really good friend of mine, like months ago, like months and months ago. She was one of the first people to like actually hear it. And her and I were both in tears, like at the end, because there's just so much truth in the book. And so I'm really excited to be able to like share it in its entirety. So I'm very excited, which let me get into this with the first book. I ended up launching it like on a launch day, but this time around, ask my followers on Instagram, which if you're not following me over there, just head over there. I am most active on that platform by far. So I asked the people over there if they would want pre-orders done, and people said yes. The majority of people said yes. So I will still have an official launch day for the book. So if you don't want to do a pre-order, that's totally fine. But once I get my preview sample in from the manufacturer, that's when I will open up pre-orders, because I want people to know exactly what they're going to be buying. That's really big for me. I want people to know exactly what they're putting their money into, because it means a lot for people to spend their money on something that I've created. So I take that very seriously. There's also going to be some really fun things thrown in for anyone who does a pre-order. So for my first book, for the entire run, they're all just autographed just as a thank you. It's my first book, it just means so much. So if you go and follow that link down below to get a book now, it's going to be autographed, no extra charge. But with this book and going forward, only people who pre-order will get an autographed copy. And then there's also going to be some few special things kind of thrown in as well, just as a thank you for anyone who does a pre-order. So I'm hoping to have my order in. I've been saying this for months now, but now that I really am at the tail end, formatting really doesn't take me very long, thankfully. So I'm really hoping to have this in by maybe like the end of September. I'm really hoping. And then because I will kind of go back and forth with my printer a little bit to just approve files and things like that, and the layout of the book, and that takes a little bit of time. But once I actually get the order put in, it does take about 3 months to get the entire shipment back in. So that's where we're at timeline wise. But I think honestly, because of all the flowers and everything that's like in this book, I think it's actually going to be really cute to have it launch like early next year, right before spring. And I just think we're getting it when we're getting it. All right. It wasn't the timeline that I originally wanted, but we're here now. Okay. Life just keeps getting in the way and I can't do anything about it. I'm very, very excited for this book. I cannot wait to share it in its entirety. I will also be filming the entire formatting process. I've had a lot of people ask me about that. So do not fret. I have not forgotten. I will be filming that whole process. So if people want to see me scanning them in, like if they want to see that portion, I can film a little bit of that. It's honestly nothing crazy. It's literally just taking it and go getting them like scanned in, and like you put it on the thumb drive. It's nothing like crazy. If I can do it, y'all can do it, because I'm terrible with technology. So that's what I'll be doing next. I'll be taking them in to get them scanned in. So that's pretty much all that I have for you guys today. If you'd like to just stay around and see the behind the scenes and get notified when this book comes up for purchase, definitely hit subscribe, stick around, and let me know what questions you guys have for me down below. I'm more than happy to answer anything when it comes to like my process, the business. If you have questions about me personally, I feel like I'm probably due for like another little Q&A here shortly. Definitely hit the subscribe button. I'd love for you to stick around. I'm closing in on 900 subscribers, which is wild. And thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.